Well, thank you so much, and thanks for inviting us along today. I'm afraid today I get the rather dull bit, and then John and Adam get the really interactive, exciting bits. But just to kind of frame the context, about a couple of years ago, this huge report called the Topol Review came out with the NHS and Health Education England really looking at the ways in which the healthcare workforce across the whole spectrum had to change to deliver a digital future. And really that kind of blueprint led to the simulation strategy in the NHS, and for us being far more engaged with students and trying to give them real-time experiences. So that's the sort of the background context. And then what we're sharing today is some work that Adam, who's a paramedic's done, and John, our wonderful learning technologist as ever, has been doing filming, editing, all sorts of stuff to support. Adam, over to you.
Sorry, 1 second, Adam. I forgot to share the sound, so you literally reminded me 2 seconds before as well, so I've done it again.
We love a technical glitch, don't we?
It's the story of my life.
Okay, cool.
Good afternoon, everyone. So this is the first time I've spoken on this forum, and it's been a really interesting start. What I'd like to tell you about is something called Martian attack. This came in the depths of COVID restrictions. As it says, I teach paramedic science, and the problem is we can't teach people to stick needles in tubes inside each other on a Zoom call. So we were able to bring them in small bubbles. So although it sort of made our work threefold, keeping them in the bubbles, we were in a brand new faculty building, the one I'm sat in now, which is a beautiful sort of expensive greenhouse with all the bells and whistles, and we had the run of the place, which was amazing. The problem is it was all a bit too clean and new and shiny, and I was looking desperately to move our pre-hospital practice into the pre-hospital world, and Martian attack came off the back of that. A simple simulation where the tasks were fundamentally practicing what they've been learning in a unit called Emergency Care Fundamentals. So this is where we teach paramedics to deal with people who are desperately trying to die in front of you, and to stop that happening and to support their ailments. But also using the simulation technology, it was our first attempt to sort of align and fuse into that professional practice in regards to that sort of HE report that Debbie just mentioned. And the premise was, to add value in the applied context of the outcomes being sought. So Martian attack was the brainchild of myself, and no alcohol was involved, but it allows us to set the scene in a time critical manner, but actually the tasks that the students are being asked to do are the primary survey of a trauma assessment. We then set a team initiative task using equipment they'd never seen before, and then communication was the key, and it was the communication where we used the technology. Next slide, please. So here you can see some stills from the day. This is in fact, these came out quite brightly. This is a very dull, damp, dark, concrete basement car park that was on the estates, which of course was closed. And in fact, the building above was being renovated during the lockdown. And so it was absolutely perfect for our learning environment. And here you can see our students carrying out various sort of tasks to stabilise their patients. So they came down in their bubbles. All they were given was a postcode of the front door. They were given very limited briefing. They knew that it was a skills demonstration. They knew what they had to wear, and then we provided all the PPE and everything else. And they came down in their groups that they've been working with for the previous 5 weeks. And the ILOs, the intended learning outcomes for this, match the students, being able to show a systematic approach to a critically unwell patient. But also the key thing to this is actually communication. We can teach anyone to plug holes in anyone. It takes a couple of hours in the afternoon. I've taught it to children, but actually conveying the importance of communicating what actually has happened on scene to the receiving team of clinicians for the next stage of that patient journey is absolutely key in trauma care. So that was what the focus was on, and there was various systems that we ran through to do that, and preparing the scene. So off the back of that limited brief, we made a short film to set the scene for the Martian attack. Next slide, please, John. you could play it away.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the SA. My gosh. They're going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots to the west. Oh, big man. That's not LNS though, is it? It's not. I don't understand. Well, if there's a good thing, it's rotating.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
From city to city, an incredible hysterical panic spreads as the unimaginable becomes real, the impossible becomes true. They come from another world, spawned in the light years of space, unleashed to take over the bodies and souls of the people of our planet.
So the Martians had landed, and the brief was that the Bournemouth resistance fighters had kept them at the sea cliffs. We were about an hour away, a mile away from the beach, and they had a casualty clearing point to go and assess their patients, and then hand those patients over using acronyms and systems that are used in practice today. And so that was the scene-setting video as such. That set the scene. They were able to watch whilst they're putting on their own PPE and getting that brief. And then we even had some sound effects just off of my children's PTA PA system at the back of my pickup truck down in the car park.
Just to tweak in, could you just say why you chose aliens? Because I think that's really important thinking about it.
When we have paramedics in practice, the major incident exercises tend to be natural disaster or they can be terrorism and all those sort of things. The challenge with going into terrorism and things like that is it's not very it's not really something the university can be seen to be aligned to, and it becomes very politically sensitive. And of course, if you talk about major accidents, multiple pileups, which is actually the most common type of incident that a paramedic's going to deal with, multiple patients is normally in an RTC. They can be trigger points for students, even things like building collapses and everything else. Whereas if you talk about a Martian attack, the whole point is it's a bit of light-hearted fun. Yes, absolutely, and it now enables me to sort of go into my creative side. But actually, the systems that we're expecting to do are exactly the same, no matter what the incident is. So it's a way of having a bit of fun, doing something unusual, capturing their attention, like was just discussed. Absolutely had their attention. They had no idea this was going to happen, but it didn't distract from the key bits of skills we wanted them to demonstrate in the exercise and those learning objectives. And that's key for all technology and all scenarios and anything we do. It's lots of fun, and the technology can be incredible. And we've seen amazing examples. I'm sure a lot of you use some really high-tech stuff, but it must enhance those key learning objectives that were the same when we were doing it face-to-face with sticky tape and red dots and all the real basic stuff. So that's why we use Martians, because no one could go, oh, I'm a bit, and they didn't. None of the students got upset or distracted, or they just got on with their jobs, and in fact they lapped it up. They loved it, and it was really, really good. It's a long day for us with 8 teams going in succession doing the same thing, but the feedback was all positive, really positive, and it was something different, something they still remember, hopefully.
So we're just going to conclude with John talking a little bit about the affordances of 360, and then we'll finish because we know we've got to keep to time.
Yeah, thank you, Debbie. So part of the reason we're kind of, or why I was talking about the affordances of 360 is as part of Adam's sort of Martian attack scenario, Adam wanted to capture kind of how the students delivered their feedback, kind of how that would look to somebody, and I'm sure Adam can provide the technical name for that feedback, but how that feedback could be perceived by the person receiving the feedback. And so we kind of started to explore the use of sort of 360 video technology, initially with a really kind of low-end scale Theta 360 camera, just to capture some of that feedback. And actually the feedback from the students was that actually they found that really useful, being able to perceive from someone else's perspective, even though they're kind of watching themselves, that performance, the kind of knowledge retention of being physically there, kind of, even though inside the classroom, they're taken out of the classroom and able to experience kind of what that was like from a different perspective. And so we've been exploring kind of the idea of, okay, 360 technology. Yes, it's fancy, but what can we do with it? What's it going to kind of bring to the student experience in particular? And some of the things that kind of we've found, and one of the reasons that we're kind of hoping again to use in the future, is kind of that element of sort of perception, particularly kind of the emotion and empathy, when you're able to put yourself kind of in that central situation and kind of witness it in almost kind of what appears to be real time, and that kind of escape from just this flat 2D video into a 360 video is kind of where we went from that, and kind of leads on to kind of an exciting project that we're working on that Adam's kind of charging up, that we're hoping to complete come the end of March. So Adam, I don't know if you've got 2 minutes just to talk about that.
So very quickly, what this is enabling us to do is this year we're not just the paramedic group. It sits under the midwifery and health sciences faculty. We're very small cohorts compared to the behemoth nursing school. But what we've done is we've now got a 2-day event. So we'll have one day where we'll create Armageddon for the our students to run through. We're using 2-year groups. And then the second day, we're going to stage those initial handovers in the cute on-scene handovers with real clinicians who are coming in their own time to be handed over to, if you like. And those films are then going to form the basis for scenario planning, for OSCEs, for skills demonstrations across the board, everything from social work to OTs to physios to adult nursing, CYP nursing, mental health assessments, the whole works. So someone who can, for instance, you've got Bob who's smashed his pelvis, and he'll be all strapped up, and we'll be dealing with that on scene. And then you can fast forward 18 months, and now here's Bob, and he needs a physio referral, or he goes next door and actually he needs some walking aids and some bathroom equipment, and the OTs can then assess him accordingly. So you're using the same patient, the same film, and then it's going to be distributed throughout the entire faculty of health and social sciences here at Bournemouth to then provide a basis to then enact your student assessment, whether it be in the acute timescale, so shortly after the event, or many days, weeks, months afterwards. So that's quite exciting, because we've got sort of a hive mindset with the faculty, and we're going to have a bit of fun with that as well, as you can see.
And we'll stop now, Phil. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow, what a team you guys at Bournemouth have got. It's fantastic, really good. Unfortunately, we have run out of time for questions, but being such a good team, I can see that Debbie has been covering questions in the chat. So if you do have any more questions for the presentation we've just seen, please stick it in the chat, and I'm sure one of them will get back to you. But yeah, wow, fantastic. I was really impressed. Yeah, well done.